All right, let's see how we can do in terms of time on two of these winter cards here. I'm going to do this composition right here, but we'll do it on the gold holographic and the silver holographic. I'm going to add a moon to this one just to out of curiosity to see what that would look like in back of our Art Foamies winter ash tree. All right, let's go about right here. And if you haven't seen these videos, we're using a water-based pigment ink called Brilliance. And it has been designed to be a relatively fast-drying pigment ink. All right, now what I did on this piece right here is I added a little bit of a curvy, snowy slope at the base here. So let's go about like so. Now we will need to spray seal this when it's done. We'll be doing that off camera because I do that outside. You always want to use a sealant or any kind of like a spray painting type of thing outside, unless it's something like an airbrush. But anytime you use those kind of those aerosol type of I don't know whatever they are, xylene. I have no idea what's in those spray paints or acrylic sprays, but always do it safely. And let's change this one a little bit. I'm just shifting this little sloping area to, maybe to the left side on this one. Just, I don't know, just to make things a little bit different. But you just spray seal these, and that will lock these inks down. Otherwise, they'll dry, but it'll kind of be floating on the surface of the cardstock. Okay, so we're trying to build this up, and the more kind of taps you do, you don't want to press too hard when you're tapping, otherwise you might be removing the ink. But you want to get that built up on there. And what I was getting at was this ink will dry on here, but it won't adhere, which is kind of a good thing in some ways in terms of the user-friendly aspect of these this ink surface combination, because it doesn't adhere, so you spray seal it and it'll lock it down on there. Okay, let's see. I use one of these Brilliance pads for my cotton ball application. It gets a little cotton kind of fibers on there, so I leave this one just pure for my impressions. All right, so we're not stamping this whole thing out because this Art Foamies version is larger than the surface of this. It's roughly about a 4x6 card. It's not quite 6 inches. This paper comes in kind of a funky size, so it's not 4¼ by 5½ in terms of a quarter card. So, but I just quarter it up. Because I'm going to mat these, kind of like postcards anyways, so. Alright, so this ink doesn't dry as fast as something like a StazOn ink. But it does dry relatively quickly. But that being said, what I do is I stamp and I hold for a little bit. And stamping these Art Foamies onto the foil like this with a thick ink, which pigment inks are, it lays down really nicely. It doesn't. I don't find it skews kind of accidentally like you can sometimes with rubber on to the surface, because the surface is kind of slippery. So, and the ink isn't absorbing into the surface, so it stays on the surface, and it's easy to kind of skew it a little bit when you're making your impression. But press and hold. You don't need to press like super hard on this either. What I'm doing is I'm just allowing the Brilliance ink to transfer to the surface down here. So you don't want to press too hard to begin with, otherwise you might be kind of pressing into the ink. Then that way when you lift the stamp from the surface, it might remove some of the ink. So you just adequate pressure, I would say, even. And this Brilliance ink will start to set up a little bit. It doesn't quite dry, but it just transfers over to the surface. Now see, this is kind of, I'm kind of pulling it off from the surface, which is good. And I think that moon looks pretty cool like that. It kind of reads back there. I wasn't sure how it would look, but I think it looks pretty good. It creates kind of an additional focal point. Okay, so we're going to re-ink this because I think we've transferred a decent amount of ink to the surface. You might try, I don't know, embossing or something like that. That might be kind of cool. You want to be careful when you emboss on metallic cardstocks because you can get some warping, from that metallic surface on there. So just be mindful of that. But these cards are going pretty fast. This is a really big stamp here, so it gets, you get a lot of coverage from it, that's for sure. But I think that looks pretty cool, don't you? That one I'm talking about, I think that is really neat. Looks like I got a really good impression there. So, stamping and holding for a little bit. I don't even know if I need to have my hands on here. I'm pressing a little bit, but just very gently. Again, I don't want to press into the ink and have it squeeze out. Remember, this ink isn't, or the moisture from the ink isn't absorbing into the surface because, the surface is very basically non-porous, so it's just sitting on the surface. So just allow it to sit there for a little bit. Now, if you're in an area that's really arid, maybe the ink starts to set up faster. Maybe during the warm summer months, if it's a difference in side of, I don't know, 10, 15 degrees, maybe it makes a little bit of a difference. But yeah, just in general, hold down, and I think you'll get, rewarded with a really good impression. Okay, so I stamped out a couple different images. You saw the elk here. And let's go with that again. I think that looks pretty good on here. Now, if you ever, don't get an impression the way you want to, you can wipe the image off. You can even let the image dry and just wipe it off real cleanly. And it's not a problem. Or you can do it while it's wet. It's a little bit more smeary when it's wet, but, a lot of times we don't want to wait for it to dry. We want to, we're working on a card. We want to finish it off. So you can wipe it off. I'd wipe it off like a cotton ball. You just kind of wipe it off. Change the area of the cotton ball so you're not, smearing more on there. And then just kind of buff it off and it comes right off. All right, there's our little elk right over there, done in white. By the way, you might be asking, hey, you're doing it in white. Can we do it in black? You can. It might not show up as good as white, though, okay? Because you can see there's darker areas of this, and I just find that the white really stands out very nicely. Let's see, on this one, okay, I'll keep putting this on the right side. This one right here, I have his feet going up a little bit above that snow. Maybe I'll add on a little bit more snow down there. And I don't have to hold the smaller stamps down quite as long. I don't know, for some reason. Maybe there's, I don't know. Oh, yeah, I should have stamped them a little bit lower. You can see where, the feet are kind of above that little slope right there, or whatever, the lower portion of the slope. So let's go back here. Let's tweak this a little bit. So I'm watching my time here. It's going to add on a little, I don't know, few seconds to the process. No big deal. All right, let's see here. Where did this go? Let's go like that. See, I can see, where those feet are. Careful right around here. You don't want to put too much pressure on it because it could remove some of the ink. So I'm tapping right here, or holding my paper down right here because I don't think there's anything underneath there. Let's see, where did my cotton ball, C for cotton. And we'll go like this and just add, we'll raise that little area of snow up a little bit. Like so. Okay, that looks good now. That elk isn't floating over the snow. And here, let's go with this one right here. And something like that. We just got an extra 4 inches of snow in the last few seconds. All right, there we go. Now to make these a little bit extra Christmassy, I'm going to add in that word stamp. I'm just using the word peace right here. I have some tack and peel on my block, but I don't need it because this one is a Scenic Sentiment cling foam version. It's easy to skew kind of a word stamp, I find, for some reason, so be fairly decisive when you're making your impression. And again, press and hold. Okay, you have that piece like that. Doesn't that look great? I feel like you can kind of mass produce these cards in some way. I don't know. I mean, it's, you know, they're not a 5-minute each card, but yeah, it's not too much. It's not too far away from 5 minutes per card. It's probably like more like 8 minutes. You know, if you have some of the, you do all these things kind of in an assembly line kind of format. All right. Got to be careful about where you touch on here. Look at that. Isn't that great? I find that so elegant. Then we'll spray seal this and I'll add on a few little extra touches on here. You do want to allow this ink to dry and set up for a little bit, but you can spray seal it when it's a little bit damp. I wouldn't do it when it's as damp as it is right now, although the spray sealant, the spray fixative that I'm going to be using on here, it does help to dry some of this media, this pigment ink, because I have a feeling it kind of penetrates some of it, and then that drying solution that's in the sealants kind of expedite the process of drying not only the sealant that's been applied, but the inks that have been laid down. I don't know if that would be the case with everything, like if you're sealing like a oil-based medium or something like that, but look at that silver holographic look on there. Seems like there's even more contrast for some reason. I don't know why. Silver seems like it's a little bit of a lighter value than something like gold, but I think gold looks pretty good too. Like that. Okay, but yeah, we'll allow this to dry. We'll spray seal it, and we'll come back and hit it with a few little extra touches. Although, I don't know, it looks pretty good as is, I'm thinking. The pigment ink does, I think it, on these colored ones like this, I think some of the color from the surface, I don't know if it's a water-based gold that they print over this holographic, but it starts to penetrate some of this ink, and it changes the color of the ink a little bit. But I think that's cool, though, because you can add on some white in here, and it stands out a little bit more in terms of contrast. So, yeah. All right, so allowing it to dry, and we'll come back and take a look at it. Okay, these have been spray sealed. Okay, now something that I completely forgot about that I've considered in the past, not the recent past, but I'm just remembering this, is, okay, so this doesn't look white anymore. My impressions, you can tell how white this one is on the silver because it doesn't have that tinting on there. So I still think that looks pretty good, but one of the things that I was considering before is to spray seal this holographic surface first, just to lock down that gold, the colored tint on there, be it red or whatever color the holographic is, locking it down, and then stamping over it with white. And I think I would get a lighter impression, permanent impression, that would stay that way. But now that being said, I'm going to add in a little bit of a snowy types of touches to this, and this will stand out more because the tree isn't as white anymore. So that can all, something like this, it can potentially serve us well, if we want to do something like this. Okay, so adding on these the snow on the branches. I mean, it could represent something else like highlighting or something like that too. It doesn't. Snow tends to be a lot more reflective though. So I don't know. I guess it is whatever it looks like to you. That's what it is. Okay, so I'm just adding some around these branches. Kind of right in the intersection of where a branches Y off a little bit. That's kind of a fun area to add it into. And if I tried to do this before I spray sealed this, I'd be kind of digging off the white impression. So, you want to spray seal and lock down your ink so that you can add something like this on there. Okay, I just scraped that a little bit right down there. I just didn't add enough sealant down there, so good idea to add a little bit more. But there's that white on there. Doesn't look great in terms of adding a little bit of no, I guess a dimension to it. No, I sprayed this really lightly. I mean, I should really spray seal it a little bit more, but I wasn't sure if the ink was still wet, but I wanted to proceed here with some of these little effects quickly because I'm impatient and I want to see how this looks because I really love the look of it. Sometimes you have to kind of roll off some of that ink if you picked up some of it. See, that really gets flowing really nicely. All right, see that tree there with those extra little white touches on there? Doesn't that really add to it? It just makes for a really fun surface. I really love the look of it. All right, so I'm going to allow this to dry a little bit more, then we'll spray seal it a little bit more, and then we'll get this formatted. And I think I'll add in some snowfall into it. And let's just do that right now. Okay, so I did some splatter painting on my last. I'm just going to add these in by hand here. All by hand. I thought, that looks pretty good to have it splatter painted. You get a little bit more variation, but this is really cool too, to just add it by hand like so. Add some in front of your branches, add some in back. And see, that's done. Kind of. I just looked. It's like, oh, let's get some off to the side here. Okay, I think that's it. Add some that are a little bit bigger. It's like drawing a little circle, okay? And this is an acrylic extra fine paint pen. It's a 0.7 millimeter, by the way. If you just get the white pens, they come in packs of like 6. I really like the Artistro 42 color set. You can do other types of colors, you know, other types of a range of hue, different hue. If you're working with like a blue scene or something like that, these represent highlights. It's really great having a kind of a nice range of colors to, you know, at your disposal. But I don't know, the white's, you know, the one that I use the most. So look at that snowfall in there. Isn't that fun? Doesn't that look like a great holiday card? I was just thinking a fence would be cool down here. I should use my fences on some of these. Okay, so let that dry a little bit, a minute or two I'm talking about, and then I'll seal it again just because I can see down here I didn't use quite enough sealant. I didn't want to coat it too much because if you hit it too much, it can affect that holographic a little bit. You know, you can do it in layers. What you do is you hit it with a thin layer, allow that to dry, hit it again. But right now it's 10:30 p.m., so it's kind of cold outside, so it's not drying real fast. So I just kind of hit it with a little bit of a thicker spray, but I'll try to be careful. But we do need adequate coverage, so that way we can use some spray adhesive on the back and mount it to a couple pieces of extra paper to get these formatted really nicely. All right, we're all formatted here. I have the silver holographic on silver paper, plain silver, and the gold holographic on gold, right around there. Not that you have to match up like that, but I think something like this would be cool with red, but all the colors of the rainbow are in here. So any kind of perimeter, you know, framing like that, matting, I think would look just fine because those colors are in there. But the thing that I do like is just having this really thin border of white because I think it picks up the snowfall in here and the little snow effects on the tree limbs like that. But okay, so on the colored ones, I'm going to experiment around with spray sealing the surface a little bit first. On a future, I don't know, kind of experiment like that. But I like both of these. I think these look really cool and are really easy to do. 3 stamps each, 3 impressions each, and really not too much technique going on in here. So let's see, we're almost at the 25-minute mark. So I don't know, that puts it at about 12 minutes per card or something like that. I think that's not too bad for the drama and the visual interest that these types of cards provide. It's really provided by the paper, and we're just stamping, you know, some kind of compositional arrangement over the top of it and keeping it pretty simple because, you know, the paper, that Holographic's doing, so much of the heavy lifting for us in terms of creating something attention getting and striking, and I don't know, providing the subject matter for the piece. So we're just kind of providing the season for it, and some of the texturing, some of the additional texturing, and I guess foreground like that. So it's just so much fun to do. I really enjoy working with this type of paper and doing these types of quick scenes like this. So yeah, fun stuff, easy to do, and relatively quick to do too. So all right, I have some more cards to be sending out to with orders received of a certain size. I'm not mailing them out too much like with a $2 order or something like that, but someone will get these. And whoever does, hope you enjoy them. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this channel, hope you hit the like and subscribe button, and hope to see you on the next Stampscapes 101 or Stampscapes Live.